You also mentioned that Ganpati is the lord of music. An experiment I've been doing every now and then is website here. I forget the name, but if you search on Google ragas for different times of day, it shows up. And then some nice folks on Spotify, some users only, have identified those ragas and they've put them up on Spotify. So early morning ragas, late afternoon ragas. My favorite are late morning ragas because ragas ki jo wo timing hai, they're a little different than what we think of as morning, afternoon, evening, and night, right?
Yeah.
So I play those. अब मुझे नहीं पता इसमें, of course, this conversation is entirely non-funded or non-supported by science. If those people haven't tuned out by now, it's very obvious. Um, but something strange has been happening whenever I play these ragas for the times of day. I don't need focused music if I'm trying to work. If I'm sitting, I don't need to. Even if I can't scroll when I'm listening to these ragas. बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है मेरे लिए अपने autopilot गंदे behaviors करना. It's a little hard. So, as someone who's obviously loved music all his life, I begin to wonder what is the role of ragas. And then you said Ganpati is the lord of music.
Yeah, so there's this very Gupt Sahasranama of Ganpati. Sahasranama means 1,000 or 1,008 names, and it's called Gakara Ganpati Sahasranama. And so Ga is the third note or the third raga, and it's known as the raga of compassion. Only when you have the compassion of a guru of Ganpati, that's when you're able to ascend to higher stages in your sadhana. Similarly, music is related to Jupiter or Guru. It's also Guru also begins with a Ga. And so that is what the relationship with ragas is, to have that grace of Jupiter onto you. It aligns you for the day. Either you do pranayama or you listen to really good ragas on it. That's a sadhana in itself. So a lot of musicians, if you see, they have really beautiful posture. They have really, so they're very disciplined. They tend to lead really, good lifestyles.
Musicians and good lifestyles, what are you
Not
saying?
the pop musicians, but like if you listen to
Like the
classical
classical
music,
guys, yeah.
they have a very tight schedule about how they want to do things,
Yeah.
how much they want to practice, everything. So that's also like a grace of Ganpati. Ganpati loves music because he's born under, there's one of the nakshatras, Dhanishta nakshatra. So Ganpati loves music because of that.
If you want to watch small segments of the podcast, subscribe to those cast clips.
Dhanishta is the one that's the drum or the mridanga. And so when you play your life a certain way, it's going to give you that good result that you need. That's what Jupiter essentially is also. You have to play by certain rules or parameters. That's what that's what happens in classical music.
That's why it's so pleasant, perhaps. Like, if your mind is so stimulated by all of the things you consume on the internet, even music becomes a menace, right? You could play your best favorite song from your childhood, and after a while, with the same lyrics, ya kitne bhi usme chord progressions, so you still feel a little bit at unease. But I think the power that ragas or classical music, even Western classical music, like Succession is a wonderful show, but the music that they've made, or the Godfather music, or any show that has classical music, there's something so stirring, emotionally stirring about it that you don't just get when music is just out and about, stuff like that. Or I just find that kind of music very dramatic, where it's almost like, for me, it becomes the music for manifesting something, because that score invites in my mind a kind of mood that I want to create. And it just also is very foretelling of, like, if I listen to the Godfather theme, I think of impending responsibilities and what happens when doom comes and how will I sort of rise up. When I listen to Succession, I think about inevitable success, but there's no lyrics, but it's just built in a way where the mood invokes that in me. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's actually the devta of that particular raga that takes you to that, it gives you that certain rasa. Rasa means that taste. So devtas, Shiva especially, he's the king of all rasas. He enjoys everything. And so when you worship Shiva, that's why you become detached, but you're still out in the world and acting and doing things as you would. But the devta, they give you a taste or they give you a rasa of that particular sort of state of being. So for example, if you listen to Rag Yaman, which is related to Venus, it's a common Venus remedy to listen to Rag Yaman. It's a very, a lot of Hindi music has been written to it, very romantic songs and everything. So that invokes Shringara Rasa, which means the mood for love, or the mood for, contemplating about your lover and yearning
Have you
about
watched
them.
In the Mood for Love?
I did.
Yeah.
It's
The
actually
song-
such a beautiful movie.
Yeah, but the song isn't like that at all. It's like a sad. It's a sad song.
Yeah, so there's two types of Shringara Rasa. One is where you are united with the lover, and that's
Yeah.
what a lot. So Shiva Parvati united with the lover, and then there's this Rasa which is where you're away from your lover or you're away from the beloved. That's how we feel about God. That's how Radha felt about Krishna. It was still Shringara Rasa, but there's like a slight tone of sadness to it.